Today we have Aaron Biggs with Summit to discuss building IT environments for growing needs. Welcome, Aaron.
Hi there. Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for giving me some of your time today. Before we get started, obviously, I'm with Summit. We're excited to share a bit with you about who we are and what we've done with our customers, and hopefully some of the value we can help you drive in your relationships as well. We were born in the data center. We have quite a few different offerings in our portfolio that we'll be talking about today. But at the end of the day, our value for customers is that we want to be more of a full service organization that delivers really a tailored and focused solution for the customers that we're engaging with. Some of you have been engaging with some members of our team. So Eric Dominguez and John Percunier, who would normally be the main points of contact with any of you. They are off busy and doing similar presentations of their own. So I'm lucky enough to have a chance to join you today. I run our revenue organization at Summit. So that's all of our sellers, as well as our supporting organization of solution engineering and operations, both on the direct and indirect side. So very familiar and excited to engage with you today further on that. And obviously, Eric and John are crestfallen that they can't be here and to put this content in front of you themselves. But I'm going to give it the college try to show them how it's done. So just a really quick look at some of the numbers that we associate with our organization. We've been at this for a long time. So over 2 decades now, 26 years. We are very proud of the fact that across our 10,000 plus customers that the average retention is over 10 years with us. And so we certainly have a track record of building success and sustaining that with our customers. Lots of things that you would hopefully expect to see from a good provider in this space in terms of the SLAs and response levels that we offer our customers. Again, a global reach is a really important aspect of what we bring to the table. So across those 2 decades, we've been delivering for our customers, not just domestically in the United States, but across Europe, Asia, Africa, and South America as well. And so we have the posture to be able to support everyone from an SMB up to an enterprise and what their specific infrastructure and business needs might be. Just an example of some of those data centers and some of the places where we offer the bulk of our services. You can see many different locations called out there. We have over 100 different locations that we operate at least one of our many different types of service in. But these are the primary core locations where we can offer the majority of our services. So again, being able to span the globe and deliver across that footprint. So at the end of the day, with a world of many vendors, I think it's important, obviously you understand where our strengths and what does Summit do best. Again, we are a managed infrastructure provider. Our goal is to support businesses with critical infrastructure, and what that means and the technology behind it is obviously quite varied depending upon the type of customer that we're engaging with or whatever their particular workload or challenge might be. Again, to try and simplify that for you on the screen, you can see some of the larger categories that we provide. Within the data center itself, things like co-location, dedicated servers. We offer a number of different cloud services that are both designed to be private and multi-tenant. We also have the largest application hosting business in North America that specializes in providing specific application hosting in the financial and accounting world, things like Sage and QuickBooks, as well as desktop as a service. And then far too many managed services for me to call out here, but a key focus in terms of backup and disaster recovery, security, and overall protection of those core infrastructure platforms that you see listed on the top. So that breadth really allows us to deliver for a lot of customers in a lot of ways. And again, to be able to retain them and grow them over time, being able to evolve the way that we're solving for those customers as their internal requirements change over time as well. So again, what makes us different? I think the important thing is that we are extremely human. We are extremely accessible. We pride ourselves on being very much embedded and easy to interact with, both obviously throughout the early and pre-sale stages of our engagement, but through to the service delivery and full customer relationship with Summit as an organization. We have not just many years of experience, right, but also the people and the pedigree to be able to deliver against that, because we are designed to support customers that live in the Fortune 500. The benefits of that type of enterprise grade infrastructure and processes trickle down into the remainder of the customer base. We are not a company built for solely small businesses, meaning that any company that buys in is getting the benefits as if they were one of those Fortune 100 customers of ours. So we're very proud of the fact that they're getting the same level and grade of service that we offer across the board, and that over and over again we've shown ourselves to be the experts in quite a few different spaces. We were at the bleeding edge of this cloud repatriation moment that we're going to talk about, and created quite a bit of capability for our customers, right? Where we're solving very complicated challenges within the technology space, where you and they don't have to be the experts, and where we can bring that to bear and help simplify down how do you create a modern, maintainable, supportable, but mission critical environment for that customer, and make it as easy to consume and as simple to process as some of the largest scale providers out there, the AWSs or the Googles of the world, who can certainly market it and position it very well, but who maybe don't always deliver on the economics or the supportability or the relationship side that many customers are seeking. So hopefully you've heard this before, and if you haven't, I'm happy to share it with you. But over the last few years, we've really started to see the emergence of a trend in this space called cloud repatriation. And pardon me for getting into the very particulars of it, but for those who aren't familiar with the word, repatriation is the concept of bringing something back to potentially where it originated from. And this idea of cloud repatriation is, now that all these businesses have fully invested themselves into a cloud first or a public cloud only sort of posture, we're starting to see more and more businesses take a proactive lens to, well, should I have moved it there? Has it actually panned out and played out the way that we expected it to? And is there an opportunity for us to not just save money, but perhaps improve our business performance or our continuity or the actual individual workload reliability by moving something into what we used to have, or something that feels like what we used to have, and helping a customer recognize and work through that evaluation is a major motion that Summit has been at the front of and continues to lead. We have a number of very publicized customers who have been very public in the way that they've shared the great success. One of the largest being 37 Signals, who run the Basecamp software. We're happy to share with you as a follow-up to this some of the content that we have around that, and some of the public content that our customer, have published that speak very dramatically to the benefits to this. And they were a customer who had fully invested themselves in AWS, who had moved the majority of their infrastructure down that direction. And as a software company, that seems like it would have been the right fit for them. But the simple summary here, the net is by repatriating those workloads and in essence bringing them back into a Summit data center with managed services from us, so they don't have to go and build a new data center team inside of their organization. They've been able to save over 8 figures of cost or expense that they would have had to put towards their AWS infrastructure. So tremendous savings for them, and they are nowhere near the largest scale examples of what we see and what I'm sure your customers and clients are potentially spending and have as opportunity to optimize. Just to back that up, and again, we all love facts and figures. You can see that there's a tremendous majority of businesses that are obviously embracing cloud of some sort today. But the most telling was a recent CIO survey that Barclays did, speaking to the fact that almost nearly as many as are in the cloud today are considering or are interested in building plans to evaluate repatriation. And you obviously have a number of value levers to that conversation, but the largest being cloud spend in general. The more than 30% are trying to focus on how to drive that out of their business. And I can tell you from other surveys that we've conducted, more than 60% of them are very much interested in how can I deliver that cost savings to my business. Given all of the economic pressures out there in the world right now, anybody who can show up inside their organization and deliver the same or better performance with upwards of 30, 40, 50% cost savings that we can deliver through this process is going to be seriously looked at and considered. And that is not unrealistic. That is very much the norm for us when we're talking to a customer. Is at a minimum, you're going to be able to help them see a pathway to 30 or 40% cost savings, and more than likely more than 50% cost savings through this sort of infrastructure reevaluation. So I won't hit on this again, but again, very broad in terms of what we deliver, because that's what it takes to deliver repatriation. It's not one-to-one. You can't take somebody out of Google Cloud or Azure or Oracle or DigitalOcean or a number of different online cloud providers and just put them into one simple solution set. You need to have a broad offering to be able to address that, and that's certainly what we as Summit have built and designed. In terms of how can you position that for your customers, one of the easiest ways that we've been able to do that is to offer an absolutely free evaluation and review or assessment of what that would look like for them. It does not take our team very long at all to be able to look at a few inputs and understand how viable, how feasible, how difficult, and at what scale of economic benefit to a company could a move like this present without having to engage in any sort of difficult or long sales cycle, and be able to help them start to paint a very strong picture internally for why this makes sense for their business. Beyond that, we always like to look at what is some of the simplest, most transactional things that we can put out there that are successful for yourselves and for the relationships that you have. One of the most transactable and most easily defined are specific backup or disaster recovery plays. One of those being Microsoft 365. So I'm going to guess that in most of the companies and relationships that any of you have, that organization is going to be utilizing Microsoft and Office 365. In those cases, it's always an important reminder to help them understand that by default, that is not backed up by Microsoft. It's an as-is best promise that they will try to retain 14 days of data for that customer. When I'm talking to someone, I always like to remind them, what would happen to your business if your OneDrive or your Microsoft Teams or your Outlook and all the content inside of that were suddenly gone. Um, Being able to have the knowledge that that is completely backed up and secure is a huge burden relieved. And then there are also obviously levers around individual human error or ransomware or HR and legal things that come into play, where being able to set individual retention policies, to be able to have the end user very quickly be able to self-service back something up is very meaningful to an organization. And again, I said this was very transactable, and that's because this is one of those products where it is very simply priced in terms of just a dollar per user cost that can easily scale across an organization, and is a very parallel pricing model to how they consume Office licensing or how they consume UCAS or CCAS or other things like that. And so if you aren't doing it today, whether you do it with Summit or not, I highly encourage you to position things like 365 backup as part of any conversation where you're engaging in the replacement of that productivity software or teams or services like that that you might be deploying with a customer. And there's a lot of good value that you can drive very quickly within a company there. And I think I have done my best here to get us through the heavy slide content, which I assured the team that I would at the start. So my goal here today would be to hopefully any questions that you have, I'm happy to dig into. I'd love to engage in anything that you're hoping to learn more about. And it looks like we've got a good amount of time here to do so. In terms of ideal profile, our customer base is really it's mid-market to large enterprise. So we engage with companies when they have a defined IT function, so that that 3-person ma and pa shop is a tough organization for us. But as soon as they're a mid-market company that has a defined IT department, and from that point on up, and sorry, the second half there was verticals. And so we have quite a few very strong verticals that we succeed in. So the technology space, we have a lot of tech companies who span the gamut of SaaS and high tech and others. We work really well with manufacturing customers, healthcare, financial services. You'll find that there's a lot of application in any sort of market that requires heavy regulation or compliance, where the services we can offer to them, we can design to account for those situations. And then again, right beyond that, obviously there's broad market appeal for a number of our products. Things like the 365 backup apply to almost any organization.
Okay, our next question is, when a customer engages in repatriation, what percentage of their cloud computing is in play to move back?
It's a very individual answer. I would say that we look at companies where uh, they don't have variability in their workloads. They don't have a need for public cloud, and so we can move potentially up to 100% of that back into some other solution set. But I would say that the more typical norm is that you're going to find that somewhere between 30 to 50% of their workloads are ideal for repatriation. That meaning workloads that are stable, workloads that don't have high peaks and valleys in terms of usage, and then other things like customer facing mobile applications or databases that they are still developing and figuring out how they want to leverage, or new technology where they're building it and developing it rapidly and figuring out what the demand on that might be, fit perfectly there, and should stay in public cloud. And again, we're obviously not anti AWS or anybody else. And so there's a great fit for those workloads to remain there and just interoperate with what we repatriate.
Great. Next question is, what do you need from the customer for a cloud repatriation assessment? And also, do you have a copy of a previous assessment that you have done for our team to review?
So I will ask the team if we have any examples that we can share. In terms of what do we need to be able to start that assessment, obviously the ideal path is when a customer can share something like a monthly invoice, right? I mean, because the amount of spend for different cloud services is a pretty public number, there shouldn't be as much indigestion about exposing that. It's not a hard requirement. We don't need that for the dollars so much as we need that for just the line item details that are contained in it. But if they are unwilling to provide an invoice, then really all we need is a summary of the services that they are consuming. And that's all it takes to be able to start sizing what it would look like to migrate out. So most often we can get the customer to share a full invoice with us, and in the absence of that, a more sensitive customer could easily redact the dollars from that, and it would still give us the core insights that we need. There's a lot of additional things that if my SE team was here, they would say we would love to have, but that's really just the minimum that it takes to be able to look at an environment and understand what's happening inside of it and what would it take to move it elsewhere.
Okay. And last question is there a simple per cost, per user cost we can use to introduce Office 365 backup?
Sure. So, I mean, it would tier based on the number of customers that we're talking about. But for each of you, I would just say that very simply, it's somewhere on the scale of $3 to $5 per user, and that's important to highlight that carries with it full retention of all the 365 applications we talked about, Teams and Outlook and SharePoint, and is also an unlimited amount of retention. So if they happen to have some big files living in SharePoint, or they are looking to hang on to those files for a year or 3 years, or something obviously much longer than 14 days, that's all baked into that cost.